Welcome to Nova Labs. We're a non-profit, all-maker, all-volunteer community in Reston, Virginia. This is our building. We're at 1916 Isaac Newton Square West, Reston, Virginia, 20190. Come on in. So we started with a group of 14 guys, and they had a bunch of equipment in their garages, and they all brought it into one shop that they rented together. That grew over time until we were going to have that space knocked down. So we acquired this building. This is a 10,000 square foot building that was used for data storage, and we've built it out over time with the volunteer community, co-located equipment, donations from corporate sponsors. So this first area we're walking into, we call the Orange Bay. It's our community gathering area. You see over to my left, we've got the Crafter's Cove. In this area, we've got leather sewing machines, sergers, vinyl cutters, screen printing equipment. We have recently gotten a group of people doing sewing and knitting and crafting. We also have a game night. The people who run that environment on Friday nights come out and they have a bunch of board games that they all play together, and it's been a good community building event. These lockers here are member storage lockers available to some of the members for $100 a month, where they can keep their projects there instead of loading them and unloading them from the car. This is our front information desk area. We've got some blacksmithing showcase dragon heads, some 3D prints people can take with them, some glasses we've etched on our rotary laser engraver. We've got quite large group of events that we do on a regular basis, so you can go to our page nova-labs.org and also to our meetup and see our schedule of events. Just this week alone we've got speaking engagements, we have metal shop activities, basic introductory classes, all the way through to more advanced classes like product development, or I guess you could even do, we have a inventors club meeting tonight. On the wall we've got some plaques representing some of the events we've done in the past and some of our ongoing community sponsors and corporate sponsors. So we've done events with Tom, which is to assist medical people with needs in the community that the products don't exist to assist them with their need because they're too small of a niche. And so Tom has establishes events all over the world where people get together, they listen to these needs, and then in a hackathon format they develop solutions for these people's issues. And so we've had one event here and we're scheduling another one, and it was pretty successful. So we had all sorts of cool little assistive technologies that were developed out of that. So coming down this way, we've got a couple of conference rooms we use for classes, and also we rent them during the day to some members. We've got a small computer lab in here. We've got a large conference room here with an Epson whiteboard projector, and also teleconferencing ability. There's some people in conference room 2 and 1, but they're very similar with, either teleconferencing equipment, a TV, or just a desk where you can sit down and meet with your startup business or your friends. Over against the wall, we've got a group of guys that meet up, and they're working on autonomous drone technology to compete in various challenges. So the first one they competed in was called Rhino Hawk. So we just call this the Rhino Hawk area. The Rhino Hawk drone was, the purpose of it was to try to help prevent rhino poaching in Africa. And so there was a low-cost drone that they developed. You can actually see one on top of that shelving unit over there. The idea was that it was made out of simple dollar store foam. It was easy to acquire the components, and they've since progressed. In this drone that you see on the shelving unit was designed to compete in an Australian outback medical assistive challenge, where they had to autonomously deliver, I think, a 40-pound medical kit to someone in the outback. And so they used a 2-stroke gasoline engine coupled to a brushless electric motor as a generator.
Chris, good to see you.
Our classrooms, we have 2 large classrooms, and we've done all the build out here ourselves too, so like the partitions and stuff, we all just built this stuff as we went along. So we can separate these into 2 units. The Launch 100 banner, that's actually from one of my companies, the Red Blue Collective. I run that with Callie Keene here. We're helping to develop an ecosystem for entrepreneurs that make physical products. And so we work with a lot of corporations, manufacturers, engineers, and the various people that help to lower barriers to physical product development. And so we've had those kinds of events here, and then the money raised from the events we've used to give back to the lab by donating equipment we purchased with that money. We got a small kitchen area, and we sometimes have food or beverages with some of our events, which has been a nice thing to do. These are our publicly accessible 3D printers that we have. So we've got several different kinds. Most of them are filament deposition modeling. Some of the businesses that are here have stereolithography printers in their offices or small injection molding equipment. But these are the ones that we do. The Nova Labs Build Group printer, we've done now 10 or 11. Paul, how many groups have we done? 11? So we're on our 11th round of building printers. Somewhere between 10 to 25 printers per group are built by members. So we've laser cut the MDF frames here. We print the components for the frames, and Paul Chase is our 3D print steward. He's over there. Get him in. So this is kind of his baby, and it's progressed quite a lot. So the basic cost of the kit is $550 for a non-member and $500 for a member, and it's built on the Prusa open source platform, as well as having some over on our own little flares. We run a 24-volt system on it, heated bed, E3D hot ends, capacitance sensor, auto bed leveling. We've got quite a lot of little upgrades on it. So that's pretty robust printers, and I guess we're continuing to move in a direction where we're going to a larger footprint. So if Paul has his bigger printer in here later, you'll see it. It's about an 18-inch cubic build volume. So coming down this hallway, these are our entrepreneurs. So we have various incubators, but they're all asked to contribute to the community more than just rent an office. So we've got mechanical engineering and prototyping. We've got entrepreneurial business development and assistive technology, kind of like, so we do small business development growth and also CNC metal art. We've got these guys, Armor Innovations. They're doing a bunch of stuff with first-person view gaming, and they have been members for a long, long time. On this wall, we've got some member projects that have been built. So Luck-Top Boot Camp is by one of our members, Chris O'Hara. It's a system for assisting drivers in a reactive-based setup. So there's lights that transmit and receivers that can detect how quickly people react to the light patterns, and that can be used for law enforcement training and a variety of different things. Andrew Abosta is one of our members here. He has created all these little layouts and the little write-ups, and this is one of his things. So it's basically just a maker version of a slider. Bo Pollett's an aerospace composite engineer. He works out of the space as well, and this is his composite wine bottle holder. It actually rocks too, which is pretty neat. And we've got some different makers with the metal and wood. Bob Cogshell does our PCBs and pick and place. His business is small batch assembly, so you can look him up, small batch assembly online. He does small assembly of hardware, and this is one of our Nova Labs boards that you can use to develop different things. I don't even know how to say this, but
Antikythera.
There you go. We've got that somewhere around. It's kind of fragile, but that's a pretty cool project. It's 3D printed and acrylic laser cut. Fred Briggs is one of our members from way back. He's had several businesses here, but he continues to develop drone technology and has a company called Tech Strategy. He employs a lot of the makers here to work on different projects. The scopes vary from working on large power systems all the way down to doing robotics and assistive products. So this is one of his original businesses. It was a tracking device for hawks. He's got a lot of cool stories on how they would capture the hawks and then put these on them to track their movements and whatnot. Here's Bob's office here, and he's got a little rundown of the basic process from prototype to reflow.
It's not a steady cam, so it's going to look a little weird when I do it. But
it's all good. He's also teaching surface mount soldering classes here, as well as how to rework a board. So I've done some classes with him for our corporate training program that we do. So the Red Blue Collective has been figuring out how to create innovation in the workplace through the maker movement, and so Bob's been helping us with that. So these are laser cutters and thermoformer. We got a 24 by 48 thermoformer that Eric Cravano built, one of our members. Olivia, you okay with being on YouTube?
Yeah.
This is Olivia. She's an industrial designer and maker and prototyper, and she's working on one of our laser cutters here. Can you tell us what your product is?
Yeah, it's a multiple storage system, so there's going to be magnets on the four corners right here, and you can wrap this around objects and stick it to magnetic surfaces like fridges and, I don't know, back of your car.
It's really cool.
So, yeah.
Slap it on the fridge and throw some things in it. Jeff Chamberlain, one of our members, has rebuilt a couple of these old Ultramatic CNC embroidery machines. It works like a champ, but it does take a long time to set up. There's a couple of members here that regularly use this machine. This is our newest laser. It's the Hurricane laser. Again, 100 watt CO2. It's really good for engraving and cutting small materials. Then we've got our network area, our tech conference meets regularly, and they host all of our servers. And so we make our own, data equipment as well. So the Wi-Fi system here, the server network, and whatnot is all hosted and run by volunteer makers. And then our wood shop and metal shop is laid out in a progressively more difficult format. So we've got our greenway. We do a basic orientation class on how you can get involved in our community. We call it Green Orientation, or GO. During that class, we talk about our community, what's expected of you, and what you can expect of us as a group, especially since we're all volunteer. That can mean different things to different people depending on your skill level and how much bandwidth you can give back. So in this area, we've got a lot of different tables that you can lay out your projects on, disassemble and reassemble using hand tools. And once we've taken the basic green orientation, this area is available for use. We've got some member storage that comes with key membership. And then we have our yellow alley. Yellow alley includes more woodworking tools, but a little bit more difficult. So there's a single sign-off class that we use for the yellow alley. So we've got some smaller bandsaw, sanding equipment, a drum sander, mortising, drill press, and that all is taught in one class. And then we've got our more advanced woodworking area. So we've got our ShopBot CNC router. We've just recently gotten the fourth axis for it as well. So we have conversational fourth axis machining on this machine. That thing's actually on the floor over here. We haven't got it on the bed, but it uses a little slow turning motor along with a tailstock to support the wood. So you can make like a baseball bat, or something with a pattern in it. It's pretty neat. We still use V-carb for our cam on that, although we do have the PostScript written for Fusion 360, so we can run more advanced toolpaths. We've got routers, jointers, planers, saw stop, table stop, lathe, the larger band saws, chop saws, and the router tables are all in our red area. And each of these tools requires a 1 to 2 hour individual training kind of sign off to make sure that nobody loses an arm. So. And then back to our metal shops. You done?
All right, so
So this is our metal shop. So we've got, we're continuing to build out. We've only got so much space, but we've got a 3-in-1. So this is a shear, break, and slip roll. Limited capacity, about 1 millimeter. We've got Inco mill. We recently did a retrofit and put on a DRO. I need to do more with this. We've got an old engravograph. It's a pentograph engraver, which is pretty cool. It works just fine, but it's kind of back in the corner because not a lot of people use it. I got to bring it out into the open. Foot shear.
yeah, that's a nice
Pan
picture.
and box break. We've got mill drill, again Inco. The Inco lathe and mill drill were donated by one of our members. We have a Matsuura 3-axis vertical milling center with automatic tool change. This is an early 90s machine, late 80s, early 90s, donated by K-Form Incorporated. My business partner, Callie Keen's family, run a contract manufacturing shop. We've got hot work area. So we've got MIG, TIG, plasma cutting. We have blast cabinet, some smaller belt sanders, chop saws, and then we've got a blacksmithing area over here with multiple home built forges, and we've also got a nice big belt sander for doing knives and swords. The blacksmithing group meets regularly, and it's run by Bill Steinhardt. He does a nice job with that. And one of our members, Kurt Welsh, is very active back in the metal shop as well. And the guy that was here earlier, that's Chip Levy, he's been a big helper with volunteer community stuff. Tonight's our metal shop open night, so members who've come through and taken our basic metal shop orientation class can come in and have assisted build night tonight. So we roll all our blacksmithing equipment out here into our back alley, and we'll have all of our forges lined up. And we've even had, who was it? One of the guys from Forged by Fire has come down here, and was it Theo Nas, or I think has come down here. Jim Sweeney, one of our members, has developed a little bit of relationship with him. He might be coming down again to do a little class on knife making. So we've got some cool projects going. So, yeah. That's the basic layout.